The Xbox 360 was known for having a ton of sci-fi first-person shooters on it, and today I'm going to be reviewing and discussing 5 of these games in no particular order. Coming in as the first game on today's list, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. This is my favorite first-person shooter ever, and my second favorite game of all time. This game is very replayable, and it has 3 amazing game modes. First off, you have the campaign, which is roughly 6-ish hours on the normal difficulty, which is more like 8 or 9 hours if you are playing it on the maximum veteran difficulty. Now, one of the things that really makes this game stand out is this was the first Call of Duty game to let you have custom campaign loadouts. In every Call of Duty game before this, the game decided what you would be playing at that level with. The game would be like, okay, you get a submachine gun and a pistol, you get a rifle and a submachine gun. Black Ops 2 changed things a lot here, and it basically lets you play the campaign levels however you want. If you want to go at a level with 2 sniper rifles, you can do that. If you want to have a machine gun and a pistol, you can do that. If you want a machine gun and an assault rifle, you can do that. Black Ops 2 was very innovative in giving you custom loadouts, and this really helped add some replay value, as a lot of weapons and camos are locked behind doing challenges in the campaign levels. So let's say you really want to get the minigun, or you really want to get a specific camo. You might have to do some challenges in some of the campaign levels, which again really helps add some replay value. And another thing that really makes this game replayable is that Black Ops 2 has several possible endings based off of the choices that you make in the game. Up to this point, most Call of Duty games were pretty cut and paste, if you will. You couldn't really stray from a set main story, but in Black Ops 2 there are several choices that you have to make throughout the campaign, which will determine which of the several endings that you get. And again, this really makes the game a lot more replayable. And also, this was one of, if not the first Call of Duty campaigns where your character talks. You know, like in Modern Warfare 2 or Call of Duty 2, your character is dead silent, they never talk. Versus in Black Ops 2, the characters that you play as in the campaign have dialogue, and this really makes the game feel a lot more immersive and alive. And also, there are several characters that you play as in this game. For example, Frank Woods, Alex and David Mason, and even the main villain, Raul Menendez, you get to play as him at a couple places. And this game has some amazing iconic missions, the best Call of Duty campaign in my opinion. Moving over to the second game mode, multiplayer. This is my personal favorite Call of Duty multiplayer, and that's coming from a guy who isn't too big into PvP games in general. The multiplayer here is just very fun, and I used to actually be pretty good at it back in my day. Nowadays, I suck at it. Now, thankfully, the multiplayer is still pretty active in 2026, but the servers are pretty unreliable, so please do keep that in mind. But thankfully, the multiplayer is fully playable offline with bots or via local split screen, and there are a lot of cool weapons in the multiplayer, a lot of amazing maps. I personally really love the skate park map. Now, unfortunately, there are quite a few hackers ruining the Black Ops 2 lobbies. Again, that is something to keep in mind, but whenever you can find a unhacked lobby, this game is an absolute blast and is a lot of fun. Now, moving over to the third and final game mode, we have Zombies, my personal favorite mode in Call of Duty, and Black Ops 2 has the best zombies of any Call of Duty game in my opinion. Now, this is a wave-based survival horde mode where your objective is to basically survive as long as possible, and this game has a great progression system where you basically start off with a weak pistol and a crappy knife, but these zombies are also really weak, and there's only a couple of them early on, but as you progress in the game, the zombies get tougher and more of them spawn in with every wave, and you have to get better and better guns and better perks, and this game just has a really fun and satisfying progression system. And Black Ops 2 has lots of amazing maps, and there is a very fair blend of big and more complex maps, and also smaller and more basic survival maps. So if you want something a bit more big and a bit more complex, you can go play something like Origins or Mob of the Dead. But if you just want to chill out and just get some guns and survive, you have things like Farm and Town, so this game definitely has a pretty fair selection of maps. Now, you can play this game mode locally via split-screen co-op, and the online multiplayer scene is pretty active and is almost completely hacker-free, thankfully. This game is just simple fun. I love the older Call of Duty Zombies. Again, it is just so simple and straightforward, versus modern Call of Duty Zombies, which is just way too complex in my opinion. Now, as for this game as a whole, the soundtrack is amazing, it graphically looks really good, it runs great. I have a lot of great memories of playing this game in middle school. I have spent hundreds and hundreds of hours on Black Ops 2. Now, thankfully, this game is backwards compatible on newer consoles. This is 100% a essential 360 game in my opinion, and the best Call of Duty game ever. Definitely a must-buy. Alrighty, moving over to the second game on today's list, we have Bioshock Infinite. Now, this game has the best combat in the Bioshock series, in my opinion. Now, the story to this game is alright, it has a pretty big twist at the end, and some pretty interesting moral choices. Now, as for the combat in this game, it is a mix of guns and a power system. And your powers would be things like a fireball, or summoning a swarm of crows to attack an enemy, and you have to find blue salt vials and drinks to refill your salt meter. Now, this game has a pretty annoying looting system. This is a bit harder to explain if you haven't played this game, but basically, whenever you loot something, let's say you loot a box, and it has 10 bullets, $5, and a food item. Now, in this game, food can restore your HP. But let's say you have max health in this situation and you want to get the ammo and the money from a container. You can't just individually pick out those two items. You have to take everything in a container, which includes eating food, even if you want to leave it there for later. This game is a pretty annoying looting system. That's probably my biggest gripe with this game. Now, this game did a lot of things to change things up from Bioshock 1 and 2. For starters, you cannot carry health packs versus in previous games, and also you can only hold 2 guns at once, unlike in Bioshock 1 and 2 in which you hold your entire arsenal with you at once. Now, thankfully, this game does have a decent weapon variety. For example, you have like a pistol, a shotgun, a RPG, and a couple of rifles, but you certainly do have to choose wisely what guns you want to carry with you. Now, I already mentioned that in this game you cannot carry health packs, and this game has a completely different health system than Bioshock 1 and 2. Now, the health system in this game is kind of similar to that in Halo, in that you have armor and health, and basically your armor absorbs 100% of damage until it is broken, and your armor will regenerate on its own. But after your armor is broken, you start to take HP damage, and in order to refill that, you have to find med kits or food items. So this was certainly a bit of a mix-up versus in Bioshock 1 and 2, in which you just have a single health bar, and you can either eat food or use med kits to refill it. There was not any sort of a armor system. Now, it is time to discuss what is undoubtedly the standout feature of Bioshock Infinite, your companion, Elizabeth. She is amazing, and she is basically the exact opposite of, let's say, Ashley from Resident Evil 4. You know, Ashley, she is a helpless idiot who's a hindrance and more of a liability than anything else. Elizabeth is the polar opposite. While she doesn't help you fight, she can't be killed and she doesn't take damage, and she'll throw you goodies during combat, such as ammo or med packs. And also, she can materialize weapons and turrets and other stuff to help you while you are fighting. She can also pick locks and help you solve puzzles. Plus, she is smoking hot. Elizabeth is awesome. As far as level design goes, this title has some pretty cool open levels and a neat skyhook transportation system. Now, this is a longer game. It's going to take you over 10 hours to beat it, but this game does have some pretty good VAs, some pretty good sound effects, and a good soundtrack. Thankfully, this game is pretty cheap, and it is backwards compatible on newer Xbox consoles. Definitely a must-play game, in my opinion. And if you've made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you. I know and admit that I have a bad voice. I have a lot of pops and voice cracks, and I stutter sometimes, so if you've made it this far, it truly does mean a lot. Now, going over to the number 3 spot on today's list, a lesser-known Activision game, and that is Singularity. Now, one thing that will probably hit you if you start Singularity up is that this game has amazing graphics, although sadly this game does not have subtitles, which could be a little bit annoying at times. Now, as for the gameplay, this game has really good gunplay, and you will probably enjoy this game if you like Call of Duty. And this game has a decent enemy variety. You have a lot of monster enemies and some human enemies, and you also have a lot of cool guns, like a sniper that can slow time, a fancy assault rifle, a really cool automatic shotgun, and also the Seeker Wonder Weapon. This is a very interesting gun that fires remote-controlled exploding bullets, and it also slows time. Now, I'm currently replaying this game on max difficulty, and headshots are definitely the way to go when you are playing this game on max. Now, this game does have some interactable environmental objects, like being able to use sinks and telephones. While it's not quite as in-depth as something like Duke Nukem Forever, these are still some really cool little features. Now, the main feature of this game was the TMD, which is a gadget which you wear on your left wrist, and this works similar to the powers of Bioshock. And some of the special abilities that the TMD could do would be things like just instantly one-hitting an enemy if they're close to you. You can alter time with it, you can pick up and remotely throw items. Certainly a decent idea, not quite as useful as something like the powers of Bioshock. Now, apparently the TMD was supposed to be a lot more impressive and a lot more fleshed out, but the developers kind of just ran out of time, and everything that they wanted to do with it had to be scaled back, unfortunately. Now, getting a bit more into the core gameplay mechanics, this game does not have regenerating health. This game has a med pack and a stim pack system. Basically, you can carry med packs with you, and stim packs, you use them instantly whenever you find them just lying around. And also, if you do happen to die, your HP will be refilled to max whenever you respawn. Now, Singularity has a pretty cool weapon upgrade system in which you use weapon upgrade kits that you find hidden around the game to upgrade things such as your damage per shot, your magazine capacity, or your reload speed. And you also have personal upgrades, and you buy these with something called E99 tech, which is more or less the currency of this game. And you can use your E99 tech to get things like HP boost or increasing your accuracy or increasing things like your TMD energy capacity. Now this game has a pretty good story with 3 possible endings, and this game also has a lot of great horror elements. Now another thing that really makes Singularity stand out to me is that you can find a lot of very intriguing notes and audio tapes lying around. These are 100% worth reading and listening to. Now one of my bigger gripes with this game is that the controls will take some getting used to, but once you get over that, this game is amazing. I'm not sure if I would call this a essential 360 game, but it is worth checking out. But unfortunately, this one is not backwards compatible, and you will need an actual 360 to play it. Alrighty, moving over to the number 4 spot on today's list, Halo Reach. This is my personal favorite Halo game and the first Halo game that I ever played. Now this game has amazing graphics and the story is great, especially the ending. That ending hits. Now this game has simple, fun combat with a lot of cool weapons that you can use. And this game has a regenerating armor system similar to Bioshock Infinite, which I already covered. And like I said, basically your armor absorbs 100% of damage until it is broken, and then your HP starts to take damage. And you will have to find med kits to patch up your HP. Now that being said, your health will regenerate a little bit on its own, but as a whole you will have to rely on med packs and your armor. And this game has some really cool power-ups that you can use, like a sprint power-up or jetpacks. Now one thing that really makes Halo Reach stand out to me is the character customization. You couldn't really do this for the main story in the other Halo games, which makes sense because in those games you play as Master Chief, who has a set look, versus in Halo Reach you're not really playing as a character with a set look. And again, I like being able to customize my character in this game. Now unfortunately, I cannot comment on the multiplayer as I never got to experience it while the servers were still up. But I can comment on the firefight mode, which is awesome. Now, the firefight mode is a horde survival mode, and my normal viewers know that I am a sucker for horde survival modes, and it is really fun to just fight waves and waves of aliens in this game, and the firefight mode can be played via local co-op. I have a lot of middle school nostalgia from playing this game, especially playing Firefight, and I used to play it all the time while listening to like rock music. Now that being said, this game does have a great soundtrack by itself, but sometimes I just want to kill aliens while blasting rock music. Performance-wise, this game runs great, and this is backwards compatible on newer Xbox consoles. Now that being said, you will need a physical disc or to have bought it digitally before it was delisted, as this one has been digitally delisted. But if you had already bought digitally, or if you have a physical disc, you can play it on newer consoles. Now thankfully this game is pretty cheap. I paid like $7 for a UCIB copy not too long ago. This is undoubtedly a 360 essential, the best Halo game in my opinion. Alrighty, moving over to the final game on today's list, Aliens Colonial Marines. Now, I thought that since I covered 4 banger games, I thought it would be fair to take a look at a not-so-great sci-fi first-person shooter on the Xbox 360. Now, this game was published by Sega of all companies, and it went through a pretty rocky development. Now, for the game itself, this is a end of the low end of being decent. This isn't a great game. The story is pretty crummy, and this game has pretty much no horror elements despite being based on a horror franchise. This game is not scary at all. There are 1 or 2 moments which are almost creepy, but for a game that is based off of a horror franchise, this game does not deliver in the horror department. Now, gameplay wise, you fight xenomorphs and humans who have armored variants, and there are a couple of xenomorph bosses. Now, the enemy AI in this game can be really iffy in that humans can and will shoot you through cover, which is always super annoying. As for xenomorphs, they will sometimes just completely ignore your allies, run straight past them, and bonsai charge you, which was more comedic than anything else, but certainly something noteworthy. Now, moving over to a positive note, this game does have a pretty good gun variety. You have like a SMG, a AR, several shotguns, and several pistols, and you can upgrade and customize your guns to your liking. And one thing that's really cool about this game is that you actually carry all of your weapons with you at once, and you can swap them out at any time. And most guns do have some sort of a alternate fire mode, like a flamethrower or electric rounds, and you also have 3 grenade types, so this game does at least have a pretty good weapon variety. Now, this game's campaign is fully playable on co-op, and there's also a online versus mode, but the servers are empty, and my wife did not want to play this game with me, so I cannot comment on the co-op and the MP. Graphically, this game looks okay. The soundtrack is meh. The VAs are pretty good though. That being said, this game is pretty glitchy in general. This game is not backwards compatible. Only buy this one if you see it dirt cheap. And yeah, 5 sci-fi first-person shooters on the Xbox 360. Now, this is actually a part 2 video brought back by popular demand. Basically, a little while back, I made a video where I reviewed and discussed 5 sci-fi first-person shooters on the 360, and a lot of people asked for a part 2, so here you go, and let me know down in the comments what you thought about this video and if you want to see a part 3. And also, what is your favorite game that I discussed today? My personal favorite is undoubtedly Black Ops 2. Now, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks again for putting up with my bad voice. It does mean a lot. Now, for those new here, I mostly review and discuss Xbox 360 games, so do feel free to subscribe if that sounds interesting. And follow me on GameRam if you want hints at upcoming videos and behind the scenes stuff. As for our Bible verse of the day, I read Matthew 19:30 NIV. But many who are first will be last, and many who are last will be first. And like always, none of my videos are ever made by AI, keep YouTube human, and only support man-made videos. And I never give permission for my voice and likeness to be copied and altered by robots in any way. Thanks again for watching, y'all. I gotta go drink some water. Have a good one. Keep the 360 alive. God bless. Peace. Moving over to now for the final game mode, Zombies. My personal favorite mode.